Hello, welcome back to another episode of 100 Coming of Age Films in 100 Days. And today we'll be talking about these 5 films. And the first one this week, Frances Ha by Noah Baumbach. This is my kind of neurodivergent film. It's a film heavily driven by performance and the protagonist nailed it. Frances has an interesting personality that's relatable for someone who has or is going through what she's going through. With her situation and character combined, you get very different recipes for every scene that feels like a new chapter. The pacing is well planned, although it's spontaneously progressive. What it means is that you don't lose track even when it's a lot going on. It may seem like it's very amateurish because it's edited in black and white and has a very simple lighting setup, but to me it goes beyond that because it gave me a sense of purity, innocence, rawness of someone finding a place in the world, trying things out to see what lands and what sticks for her. I felt like the other aspects aside from the acting feels like it has much more depth considering it looks shallow. And the second one this week, You Are the Apple of My Eye by Giddens Co. I remember seeing someone describe this film that it has its own way of expressing childhoods and the coming of age distinctively different from its Western counterparts. That the East have a unique way of expressing how they see things as adolescents. I feel like it's true since I find myself relating to some of how the characters act and react to events and decisions. There's many thoughts and dreams that wander, thinking how the world would be like for a person if different decisions were made. For the technical side of things, there were plentiful transitions and effects that elevate the quirkiness of the characters who themselves are already endearing. The actors were very comical, but enough for it not to be cringy or over the top. And at the very end, this film manages to soften my heart with a non-conventional, bittersweet conclusion to a wholesome story of a band of high school students. And the third film this week, Hunt for the Wilderpeople by Taika Waititi. This started off bittersweet and very grim and concerning to say the very least. However, shifted when tragedy struck. Then it becomes something like a venture into the unknown, meeting peculiar characters along the way. I love the dark humor, the pacing of the writing, and the delivery of the dialogue. The irony hits hardest when the situation shouldn't demand it. The whole film manages to entice and capture you into being a part of it, then taking you onto this experience of exploring and navigating the New Zealandic bushes to unachievingly run away from the authorities. And it's a fun-filled adventure with a warm and wholesome resolution. Just like the film's setting, I felt like it's usually peaceful to live out in the wilderness, but since humans are inherently animals, we usually tend to not sit still because we have this desire to keep searching, to keep living. And the fourth film this week, Songs My Brothers Taught Me by Chloe Zhao. To see this film from an outsider's point of view is like watching people who have love and connection to the land they were nurtured in, and to tell you what the experience of growing up in said places are like. A non-documentary of what their lives are. You forget that it's a film sometimes because it felt so personal. It's an organic and raw experience of the roughness that the natives of the land have to endure, but are accustomed to it. This film feels like a barren wasteland, often with hopeless dreams and desolate souls. Fueled by alcoholism and hedonistic chase to fill a void, there is still and always will be a light at the end for those who seek it. One thing I really appreciate about this film is that it does exceptionally well at how it paints that picture of everything. And it gives you that soft, tender feeling that makes you open your eyes and start appreciating the simple things in life. And the fifth film this week, A Simple Event by Sorab Shahid Sales. I have not felt this much resonance to a character in a film this much before, not because I completely relate to everything he was going through, but because of how much of it you don't want to see him go through. There is a lot of pain and loneliness for the boy to go through in this film, and empathizing for him only makes you think that someone like that isn't even old enough to express and articulate their thoughts and feelings. All the pain and sorrow are so silent to the world, yet it's the loudest when felt by one person. It's somewhat a cheat code to use kids or adolescents to gain extra sympathy from the audience. This film is an exception because it uses both good writing and a character that can only process simple thoughts. There's much to say about this film, from personal struggles all the way up to a system that molds the young souls of this film. I can see that everything has a connection, and this film is bigger than it seems. And that's 5 films this week. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment down your thoughts. And I'll see you next week. Bye.